What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm here to give you guys my thoughts and my review on Path of Exile Crucible. Is this the worst league ever? Is it a skip? As in, we just skip out in this league, we'll play next league. Well, starting right off, you guys are seeing like one of the forms of the endgame content for the new Crucible mechanic, which is this new area called Forge of the Titans. So essentially what it is, it's another area to upgrade your items further in the Crucible by getting more XP, or you can modify it. So starting right off, I'm going to go ahead and pause and kind of show you guys. This is like the newest content here. So what you can do at these furnaces, they're not guaranteed to spawn in 100%, by the way. So you have several different furnaces. What you can do is you can remove a passive tree from an item, and I'll explain this in a second, but basically you can reset the tree, which is a good option. The other thing that you can do in this area is fight some elites, and some of them are quite tough. You cannot, by the way, re-roll these Forge of the Titans, these geodes. There's also another item where you get to combine Crucible passive skill trees. So basically what it comes down to, and I'm just going to go ahead and now show off an item. This is a new Crucible tree, and what you can do with it is you get an item, and you, on maps or earlier on in the game, you can give it XP by killing monsters. The more that you channel it, more difficult these monsters get. But what it comes down to is you're getting XP for the item, and as you progress, you're going to need more and more XP. But you do get to see the full tree once you level up the weapon to be in the very first tier. So before that, it's literally a mystery. You can do this on any weapon, or if you have a shield, you can also do it on shields, but nowhere else can you put the Crucible like passive slots on your items. It's just specifically on your weapons. Now, it would be cool if you could do it on other items. There is a specific helmet, which is only like a 1C helmet, which I actually ended up getting as a drop. It's not really that big of a deal, but you can get the passive on that as well. So I'm gonna go actually fast forward. I'll give you guys some more like just raw gameplay. Here's just like T16, and this is using Vol Lightning Arrow and Vol Ice Shot, which are brand new skills to this league. But basically, that's what it is, and you could also combine different Crucible trees into one. It's actually a pretty cool idea. A lot of these modifiers, though, feel very underwhelming, and I could definitely share the opinion with other content creators, because I follow a lot of other pay-to-win content creators, and I was just saying it takes too long and it's not rewarding enough. And at the end of the day, most of these modifiers are literally like Scourge modifiers, where they have some sort of weird downside. Like you can see on this bow, we have increased area effect, but you have reduced area effect if you've killed recently. Like, why is there even a negative modifier? Now, it's cool that you can combine different trees, but it's kind of random on what you're going to be getting, but it's supposed to, I guess, favor the ones that you've actually put XP in. So you get an item that you potentially like, and then what you do is you just hope that it gets upgraded into what you want. But you can brick your item on the very first tier, because they can convert your damage or do something super bad for your character, and we'll talk about in a second. So at the end of the day, that's what I wanted to explain at the start of the video. This is the new content. At the end of the day, this is what we came to play this new league for. But if it's your first time playing Path of Exile,
first time.
This game is still great, by the way, okay? I'm going to kind of go into the negative side of things with this video, but for the most part, I really do enjoy PoE, but the league mechanic needs some attention ASAP, because a lot of times, if you guys play PoE for a while, what happens earlier on in the league, they just throw out the league, and then they adjust it relatively quick. Right now, over on Steam charts, because I like to use this as a metric, people are really excited about PoE. It's usually because right now, people really are wanting to play some action RPG after we just got the Diablo 4 beta, and a lot of people are trying out Path of Exile. This is actually, the Path of Exile's peak is this league right now. So many people are excited to hop in, but there are a lot of concerns, and a lot of people are saying it's even the worst league ever, which I disagree with, but I'll get into kind of the nitty gritty here. So starting right off, this is no cherry picking. We just picked some of the top posts over on Reddit. Some of them are going to be negative, some of them might be positive, but at the end of the day, this is the main mechanic that people don't like. It takes way too long. So you'll see it in the gameplay over here, activated on multiple maps. This is a red T16 map, but basically, the channeling takes way too long. So how it works is you go up to a object and you just sit there channeling, and it goes up. Now, sometimes it can glitch out. You'll see it, and I'll mention how it works in a second. But basically, you give your weapon XP. The longer you channel, the more difficult the monsters get, and the monsters get way out of control. It's literally arch nemesis on steroids. So how it works is you go to an item and it channels, and you give your weapon XP. You don't know if you are upgrading the weapon for the very first time. You do have no idea what it actually gives you. Now, the problem with this is that if you're channeling, you can get attacked. I don't know, for whatever reason, they didn't just get the ultimatum mechanic and make the game pause so you can actually be like, okay, I'm going to upgrade my weapon this far. Or literally just put 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100%, and you just click it so it just starts, because it sits there for way too long, and sometimes the channel is legitimately broken, which I'll show you guys in a second. That's the main main concern. And on top of that, it's unrewarding. Very unrewarding for most players. Sometimes geodes do drop, but at the end of the day, it takes too long for the mechanic, and it's really for min-maxers versus just like casual players hopping in and getting some good rewards for like a new league mechanic. So at the end of the day, it says, when will we learn? It says PoE Crucible, unkillable mobs, no loot, channeling mechanic, and tedious progression. And then it's just like them laughing GGG over here. So honestly, what it comes down to is specifically it takes too long, the monsters are too strong, and we're not getting good rewards. That sums up pretty much a lot of different PoE leagues in a nutshell, but a lot of times, like in Calandra, they buffed it several different times, and still people felt like it was underwhelming. So what could they really do here? Because people were like, dude, I hope they wake up and fix this beta league, as in like it's still in beta and testing. If you played this league for legitimately just doing the league mechanic 2 or 3 times, you probably have noticed it takes way too long to channel, and then sometimes the channel just goes up like crazy. It's like legitimately glitched. The servers being unstable, it wasn't that bad. Honestly, the trade websites go down every single time, but I want to say in terms of server stability, I didn't have any problems with the game like logging me out. Here's the Crucible mechanic, by the way. So you take any weapon, it has to be identified, and you hold down your mouse button here, and during this you can get attacked. Certain enemies can just kind of push you out of the way, and then you can actually get some XP for that weapon. And then if it rolls well, sometimes people might want the weapon just because it has a crazy tree, but you don't get to see the tree until you like level it up. So I guess their idea is pick up every random piece of item on the ground and then just hope it has a good tree. Like, you should be able to see the entire tree when you pick it up. If they really want us to just pick up items and just see what it gives us, before like putting so much time into like maybe going to several different maps to go ahead and level this up. So that's how I feel about it. And on top of the channeling thing, the rewards just need to be way better. This is the main core argument here. This is literally one of the #1 upvoted posts. It says strong mobs not dropping loot is a major game design flaw in any action RPG. So to make sense of this, if you kill a monster that is really hard, it should drop loot. Like the reward should be proportional to how hard it is, right? That makes total sense. Otherwise, why would you go fight something super hard when you could just spam out maps, which is honestly what I've been doing, because the rewards just simply aren't here on this league in terms of doing the league mechanic. You do get rewards in terms of like upgrading your weapon, which I actually think the idea is quite cool, but the negative effects literally should just not exist unless they're like negative effects that have build potentials like increased chill effect on you, because then there's that special ring, was it I don't know what it was called, but basically there's a ring that reverses the effect of chill. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But just having like negative attack speed to be one of the rewards on an item is just like, what are you doing? It's legitimately Scourge kind of mixed in with Sentinel, but like you have a little bit less control because the item rolls randomly, right? So you can see me channeling, and it just simply again takes way too long. Anyways, next up over here, let me look at some of these rewards on your Crucible. This is a 3 depth mod, so this is like the big upgrade that you're getting right here. Look at this. It says 14% increased movement speed if dexterity is below 100. Now, this doesn't really make sense because the bow itself over here requires 2 times the amount. So the bow requires 200 dexterity to equip. But how are you supposed to use the bow if it requires you to have dexterity below 100? Bruh. Like, make sense of that. That makes absolutely no sense. Unless the whole goal is, okay, now make your build all about like reduce attribute requirements for your build, which is like completely pointless. To have this as a high tier node makes no sense, and it feels like they got just a bunch of random effects and we're like, all right, just throw them in randomly. Like, it should scale proportionally to the tier of the upgrade, if that makes sense. The longer that you have to go down, the reward should be better, not like something that actually makes no sense. Like, this obviously is just a randomizer that just rolled like, and it didn't look into consideration that the item to use it requires something that can't work. Like, this actually can't work. But anyways, a lot of people are saying very similar things, and it's just a league mechanic without actual currency is actually going to get old extremely fast, and I absolutely agree. And it's just kind of like the echo chamber of the same thing. It's just taking too long, and like some of these rewards, like, dude, adds 2 to 5 chaos damage to spells, reduce your HP. Like, these negative modifiers, if it was like 200 to 500 chaos damage but reduce HP by half, sure, that sounds a lot more exciting, right? But if the effect is just so small, it's not exciting at all. It's legitimately Scourge 2.0 is what some people are saying, and I would agree. And look at this one, 8% increased movement speed. Your travel skills are disabled.
What the hell?
Some of these mods, and again, I've been saying the same thing, and even in my legitimately my first like part 1 of my beginner's guide, I was saying that this is just absolutely just crazy for difficulty. You had Arch Nemesis, which players hated, and players fought again and again on the forums, were like, take this out of the game, take this out of the game. Eventually they're like, okay, fine, we'll take it out, and they're like, okay, we're bringing back a Crucible. What are they thinking on this one? Absolutely crazy over here. But next up over here, you can see that Crucible Forge channeling seems a bit inaccurate. Watch this little clip over here that this person is doing. So he's channeling. Let's bump it up because I can't even see these pixels. All right, so he's channeling it up, right? He's channeling, and this is the channel bar that I was talking about. It's like legitimately glitched. Sometimes it'll channel and it'll go up and up, and it was at, look at this, it was at halfway, and it just went to 100%. And if it goes to 100%, you're dead sometimes. These mobs, way, way, way too powerful. So they need to take into consideration that. And over here, this is some suggestions. So I do want to offer them suggestions, as I still love Path of Exile. I still think it's a great game. This league, in terms of the league mechanic, is kind of meh, but I still enjoy Path of Exile, so I'm still playing it. But look at this. This would be an amazing idea. They could have 2 different trees come out.
That's a great idea.
Like, why not have 2 trees, and you could maybe select them at the start, so you always have maybe something to get. It basically doubles your chances, and it makes way faster in terms of progression. Honestly, I think every item should be able to be crucibled, because then you have a lot more progression, because I can finish this in just about a week. I can have my character at like 95, I can get all my watch stones, and then, like, you know, I'll have like a pretty good item. But at the end of the day, I think they should have just did Crucible for everything. Yes, it would make us really strong, but that's okay. Have a strong league, have a very good, rewarding league, because you know what's happening very soon? This is going to be the last league, I think, before Diablo comes out, and some people might just put all their time into Diablo. This was their chance to really hook the players that were like, oh man, I really miss Diablo beta. Let's go ahead and play this action RPG and get hooked on. But now at this point, I feel like a lot of players may not stick around because they're seeing all this negativity, but I'm here to offer some solutions. How to fix Crucible. Exactly. Mobs should drop loot.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't make any sense in an action RPG game. I remember this was such a big thing with Calandra. You need to have loot in your action RPG. You kill stuff, it drops loot. That's normal. When you kill harder things, it drops better loot. That's just normal. And even for the smaller loot, I'm not even asking for like divine orbs consistently, but what I'm looking for in the very early stages of maps, I need way more vault orbs, I need way more scours, I need way more orbs of alchemy. These things that don't drop hurt your progression, especially for a newer player that might not, you know, use the trade function, because it's kind of an advanced mechanic at the end of the day. I think that that was just a huge mistake, and they should have made it so, like, I'm just asking for more orbs of alchemy earlier on, just so I can even like roll my map, so I can start getting into the red maps, you know. And there are cool trees, okay? So like I said, I didn't just cherry pick. There are some really cool, crazy things, like this one over here. Ice Spear and Ball Lightning fire projectiles in a circle. This is cool.
This right here is my favorite thing ever.
Getting myself to get 5% extra like attack damage, or like what I actually ended up getting. This is mine, by the way. Lightning exposure on hit. Sure, this is cool. I can get a little bit more damage, like 10% negative lightning resistance on enemies. Sure, that's cool. But this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see special abilities on items, and I want to see this way more frequently. I feel like almost every item on the tier 4 should have some crazy, awesome, fun ability. Why not just let players have that power? This is the last season that you have for the game before people just hop onto Diablo and may never look back. So that's what I'm actually more worried about. But honestly, I'm gonna play both games anyway, so it's okay. And especially this is the power on these enemies is way too high. It's way too difficult. I mentioned it in legitimately my very first playthrough. I'm like, dude, this is insane. There's no way that they tested this, right? Because it's very normal to be like, I want to go ahead and go to the first tier of my weapon, which literally added, what, 2 to 5 cold damage? And I had to die like 4 different times. I have 2,000 hours in PoE. I made it on top 10 of the leaderboards in terms of like one of my builds in Arc, more recently in Calandra, running a Arc in Pulsa. Like, I'm not like a brand new player to the game, and for anyone that's been playing this game for a long time, these mobs just way out of control, especially for the campaign. Maybe in the maps they could be a little bit stronger, but again, they need to drop rewards proportional to their difficulty. And again, look at the Crucible. No, Sight is arch nemesis all over again. This, they need to change. Again, we fought for this thing to change, and they changed it, and they're like, let's bring it back. It's so backwards, but again, it's just like the same thing consistently. But this mechanic was designed for Ruthless. The reward only buffs your weapon. Like this in-game thing, they should have made it so it buffs and maybe adds the ability to throw Crucible onto another piece of gear. If every single piece of gear could be Crucibled, I actually think this would be an amazing league, because at the end of the day, if you're playing for like hundreds of hours and you might get one cool, really cool special ability that a player would have to spend maybe thousands of hours to maybe like normally get, if they made the league make it so everything can be Crucible, you would have player retention rate through the roof because people want to upgrade every single piece of gear. But when you make it just on your weapon and then you get like 10% more damage, 5% more damage here, it's like, okay, I play for, you know, an extended period of time, and that's what I got from the Crucible League. I think they could have really made this league really good, and here's my suggestions for the league because I'm about to wrap this video up. But as far as the downsides and Crucible, they should be completely removed, or we should be able to see the items tree before we even invest our time upgrading, because it takes quite a while to upgrade some of these items. And I don't know why they're so terrified of making a rewarding league. I absolutely agree with this post over here. This is legitimately, it's a season. Like, the season goes away and then we just play the new season. It's not like this is going to ruin Path of Exile permanently if we have a league where the items are very powerful. So here's my solution to it. Make every item to be able to be crucibled. On top of that, when you kill the Crucible mobs, they can drop currency. I'm not even asking for very, very rare currency. Like, bare minimum on a T16 map, just maybe one orb of alchemy or one Vault orb. Just really helps you get that early progression going on versus, oh man, I'm out of Vault orbs or Alex, I'm gonna go have to trade them. Oh wait, 1,000 people didn't respond. It just doesn't make it fun. So overall, I still enjoy PoE, and this is still like a good game to play, but the league mechanic needs a very strong buff earlier on. Otherwise, you are definitely gonna be losing out on player retention rate, especially for veterans. But I know some people might be watching this video for the first time and they're following maybe my beginner's guide that has a full walkthrough for this exact build, and I want to say you can still have fun with PoE, but this league mechanic itself, skip out on it until they add a lot more better rewards. But there are cool things to get, but I would suggest, just for efficiency, just go online and buy the item with your in-game currency. Like, you know, just get a bunch of divines, get a bunch of chaos orbs, buy an item that has the right roll, because getting an item and dropping it and just keep on slamming it into the Crucible is way less time efficient than just getting the item that has the roll on it. And at the end of the day, getting items and trying to sell them is still also very hard. It's just the luck of the draw is just not going to be in your favor. That's how I feel about this league. So overall, to wrap it up, this league can be fixed. It's a really easy fix. Let us Crucible everything. Make the Crucible, like the last tier, always something insanely powerful, especially if you're doing it on like higher tier maps. Just make it more consistent for players versus like, oh, this guy made this awesome thing, but he spent 5,000 hours in the league to craft this amazing weapon. Just let us have something that feels rewarding. Anyways, that's my thoughts on it. You guys let me know yours down below. But thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. If you're new here, subscribe to the bell if you want to see more PoE content in the future. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. And let me know your thoughts. Peace out.